Hey guys, welcome back to the Curly Reader. My name's Amanda, and today I would like to share with you some of the books that I would like to read this fall. Alright, so I feel like I have a little bit of explaining to do. I've been a little bit MIA here lately, and it's because I've been a little bit overwhelmed, quite honestly. We made the decision earlier in the month to officially pull our kids from school, and we are going to be homeschooling this year. Well, at least for the first semester. We're going to play it by ear. My kids all really want to go back to school, but because of the way that things are kind of panning out and the direction that the school system's going, we've decided that it would probably be more stable for them if we just do homeschool for the time being, and the kids agreed. We definitely involved them in that decision-making process, but it is what it is. So we're going to be homeschooling for a while. So I have been trying to get curriculum picked out and order some things online. We completely redid our basement, kind of like we repainted everything and bought a couple new pieces of furniture to make it more efficient as we are going to be taking on this new kind of adventure together as a family. So, and I've been just kind of really pouring into figuring out that aspect of my life, and not a lot has gone into a lot of bookish things. I've still been reading, but I haven't been filming or editing or posting on Instagram or any of those things. So it is what it is. Something had to give, and that's what had to give. But I don't want it to completely go to the wayside. I do want to keep up with this. So we're trying to figure out a new schedule on when I can film and how I can make this work. And just kind of bear with me. There's going to be some growing pains, I'm sure, as far as all of this goes. But we're just going to make do with what we have. So I know that I didn't put out nearly as many videos in the month of August as I normally do, and that's the reason why. So that all being said, I thought I would share with you the books that I want to read during September, October, and November of this year. That's what I consider my fall months. And so we're coming up to the end of my summer months, and so it was time for me to pick a fall TBR. So I have a number of books to share with you. Actually, I have 13, I think, books to share with you. Some of these are commitments that I had made previously, and that's why they're on this list. And then others are just things that I think I might want to read during these next 3 months. So without further ado, let's just get into this. All right, so the first two books that I want to share with you are two books that were on my 5-star predictions list. I need to get those read by the end of September, and I have two left that I need to read. The first of which is The Dream Daughter by Diane Chamberlain. This is, I think it's like it's not historical. Yeah, it's historical fiction, but it has to do with time travel. And so I'm excited to read this. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. The other one that was on that list that I have not read yet is The Sun Does Shine by Anthony Ray Hinton. This is a nonfiction book about a man in 1985 who was put on death row, and he was not guilty. And so it's all about his story and to justice. It says, how I found life, freedom, and justice. So yeah, so those are the two books that I still need to read for my 5-star predictions that I have not read yet. So those will for sure be getting read this fall. I have 3 more books that are on this list that are part of a book club that I'm part of. They put out their list for the whole year, and so I already know which books I'm going to need to be reading for September, October, and November. I don't own any of these, and I don't know a whole lot about all of them either. So the first book on this list is called Women's Work, A Reckoning with Work and Home, and this is by Megan K. Stack. And I'm going to read you a little bit of the synopsis because I'm not really sure what it's about yet. When Megan Stack was living in Beijing, she left her prestigious job as a foreign correspondent to have her first child and work from home writing a book. She quickly realized that caring for a baby and keeping up with the housework while her husband went to the office was consuming the time she needed to write. This dilemma was resolved in the same manner of many upper-class families and large corporations. She availed herself of cheap Chinese labor. The housekeeper Stack hired was a migrant from the countryside, a mother who had left her daughter in a precarious situation to earn desperately needed cash in the capital. As Stack's family grew and her husband's job took them to Delhi, a series of Chinese A series of Chinese and Indian women cooked, cleaned, and babysat in her home. Stat grew increasingly aware of the brutal realities of their lives: domestic abuse, alcoholism, unplanned pregnancies. Hiring poor women had given her the ability to work while raising her children. But what ethical compromise had she made? Determined to confront the truth, Stack traveled to her employees' homes, met their parents and children, and turned a journalistic eye on the trade-offs they'd been forced to make as working mothers seeking upward mobility, and on the cost to the children who were left behind. Women's Work is an unforgettable story of 4 women, as well as electrifying meditation on the evasions of marriage, motherhood, feminism, and privilege. So that sounds absolutely amazing, and I think it will be fantastic for a book club pick. So that is nonfiction. All right, and then the next book that I'm going to need to read for book club, our October pick, is The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn, and this is a fairly popular book. It's a thriller. It's about a woman who I think is kind of like a recluse, and one night she sees something through the window in her neighbor's house that she shouldn't see, and it's just about that. So I don't typically read thrillers, but that's what book club's for, right? Pushing you outside your comfort zone. So that one will definitely be outside my comfort zone. All right, and then the last book that I have for book club is another nonfiction, and it's called The Girls Are Gone by Michael Brodkorb and Allison Mann. And it says, on the evening of April 19th, 2013, Samantha and Gianna Rucki disappeared. 2 of 5 children born to David and Sandra Rucki, the teenage sisters, vanished in the midst of their parents' divorce. The girls' father worked tirelessly with law enforcement to search day and night for his 2 missing daughters, following every lead while raising 3 children at home. Their mother, Sandra, used her newfound freedom to vacation around the world, abandoning her children, and as the investigation intensified, catching the attention of the media, Sandra also disappeared. The Girls Are Gone is the true story of 2 sisters who went missing, the father who kept searching, and the adults who conspired to keep the truth hidden. So those are the 3 books that I'm going to need to read for book club. None of them were really on my radar at all. I mean, I knew of The Woman in the Window, but I had never really had an interest in reading it. But I think it'll be good to kind of push myself and pick up things that I normally wouldn't. So those are the 3 books that I need to read for that. All right. And then the remaining books are all books that I just want to read. Some of them are on my 2020 TBR that I need to get read. The first of which is Outlander. So I started this very briefly when our family went on vacation in July. I read like the first 50 pages, and I'm so excited to finish this, and I know I want to read it. So I am planning on finishing this in September. Hopefully, we'll see. So that is the first one that I put on my list. The next one that I put on my list, where did it go? Oh, I didn't pull it down. The next one on my list is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This is one that I have been meaning to read for forever. I may be the only person around who has not read this yet, but I want to read this probably in October, I'm thinking, although Books and Lala just announced her last Buzzwordathon is going to be happening in September, and the buzzword is night. So this might get bumped to September. We'll see. This is about 2 guys. It's like some magical circus, I think, and they're dueling, maybe? I don't know. But everybody loves it, so we added that one. And then the last one for my 2020 TBR that I put on this list is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. This one is another one that I've heard so much about and I've been meaning to read for a long time, but I just have never gotten around to it yet. And it is about 4 different Londons. There's red, black, white, and gray London, and some person who can travel between the different Londons. And so it's fantasy. We'll see. Fantasy and I don't always mesh very well, so I want to give it a chance, and if I don't enjoy it, I'll just take it off my TBR permanently. So we'll see. All right, I'm looking at my list to make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, and then the rest of these are just books that I just want to read. So let's start with this one. I have Small Admissions by Amy Popple. This is one that I got recently in a book haul, and it is about a person who basically gets this job in the admissions department of like a prestigious day school. And so I thought that this would kind of be fun to read during back to school season. It's just about her basically filtering through all of these like absurd applications to this day school, and then also her personal life. So I thought that would be a lot of fun. Another one I would like to maybe read in September is I think it's called The Only Plane in the Sky. This is a nonfiction book all about September 11th, and it's written by a few different people and compiled together. I've heard that the audiobook is amazing, so I might check that out and read that at the beginning of September. But either way, I've been wanting to read this book for a really, really long time, and yeah, so I added that one. And then I also would like to read The Extraordinary Life of Sam Hell. This is about this boy who has this genetic condition where his eyes are red. And so he gets made fun of, obviously, all through school. And then he grows up and he becomes an optometrist. And that's all I really know about it. But it sounds fascinating. I have heard amazing, amazing things about this book, and I just really, really want to read it. So I put that one on this TBR. And then the last two that I have are both middle grade. The first of which I picked because the first topic that I'm going to be doing with my kids for homeschool, we're going to do this big in-depth study of U.S. government. And so we're going to be talking a lot about some of the founding fathers of the United States and, some of the mistakes they made, but some of the good things that they made, and just kind of talking about that. And so I thought it would be appropriate to read Jefferson's Sons by Kimberly Brubaker Bradley. Honestly, I'd like to read this before I hand it to my kids to make sure it's appropriate for them. But this is about Beverly, Harriet, Madison, and Eston, and they are Thomas Jefferson's children by one of his slaves, Sally Hemings. And so it's told, I think it's multiple perspectives, but it's just kind of told, it's the story about them and how they get better treatment, but they're still slaves. And so I thought that this would be apt to read while we're talking about that kind of thing. And then a read aloud that I think this is the first read aloud I'm going to do with my kids for this year. It's a big book, but it just sounds fun. And I was kind of toying around. I know I want to do read alouds with my kids for homeschool. I know that. But I was toying around with where to start with it and what type of book. Do I want to do something that kind of goes along with our U.S. government study and kind of centers around the American Revolution or a government or something like that? Or do I want to just do something fun? Do I want to do a classic? Do I want to do, whatever? I had a lot of thought that went into it. But when it came down to it, I just want to have fun with the kids. We're going to have a lot of changes coming our way. It's going to be a completely new role for me in stepping into the role of being teacher for them. And I just wanted something that they would not fight me over, to be honest. And so I picked The Candy Makers by Wendy Mass. This is about 4 kids who basically, it's the Logan, Miles, Daisy, and Philip, and they compete in a national candy making competition of a lifetime. So that's what it's about, and it's told from each of their different perspectives, I think in alternating chapters. I read different reviews on it, and everybody says it's just so much fun, and I figured this would be one that would just be fun for the kids. It's not going to be too deep, it's not going to be too involved, it's not going to be boring and dry and hard for them to understand. It's just going to be fun, and that's what I wanted for our first read aloud. So it is kind of a chunker. It is I don't even know how long, 450 some pages long, and so it's going to take us a while, I'm sure, but I'm okay with that. So that is the last book that I have on this list, because I don't know what I'm going to do for read alouds after that. I think it's just going to kind of depend on where we're at as a family, if we need to go with something light or if we are ready to step into something a little bit more heavy. We'll see. So those are the books that I am planning to read during the month of September, October, November. If you do seasonal TBRs, I would love to hear some of the books that you are excited about reading. Also, as always, if you have any comments about any of these books that I have mentioned, I would love to hear those comments down below in the comment section. You can also find me on Instagram and message me there. My link or my username is down below, as always. And yeah, I think that's going to do it for this video. So like I said, bear with me. I don't know how often I will be posting from here on out, but I'm going to keep chugging along, trying to do my best to keep you guys updated with what I'm reading at least. So we'll see. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that you stick around and subscribe. And until next time, see ya.